Hello everyone, welcome to a special segment on the Union Budget 2023 with me Shashank Udupa and Angel One. Now budget is around the corner and हर बार की तरह इस बार भी आम आदमी की एक्सपेक्टेशन इस बजट से बहुत हाई है। तो आपके इन्हीं सवालों के जवाब देने के लिए एंजल वन लेके आए हैशटैग बजट विद एंजल सीरीज, जहां आपको हम देंगे बजट से रिलेटेड इंपॉर्टेंट अपडेट्स फ्रॉम स्टार्ट टू एंड. So do subscribe to the Angel One's YouTube channel and hit the bell icon to never miss a video from us. Now moving on to this special segment where we talk about the interesting elements of the budget, our expectations and how to perceive the upcoming budgets. From every individual's point of view, the budget is important because it affects many industries that we work in and also directly impacts us due to the taxation changes. Now let me tell you कि आज हम क्या डिस्कस करने वाले ये एपिसोड में. We will talk about the expectations that people have for this budget. We will talk about the key sectors one must look at and analyze those data points. एंड उसके अलावा हम लोग आज करंट सिनारियो एंड बजट के एक्सपेक्टेशंस को भी कंपेयर कर लेंगे. सो लेट्स स्टार्ट आवर हैशटैग बजट विद एंजल सेगमेंट राइट नाउ. Now let's look at an overview of what to expect in this budget. We expect a pro-growth stance despite elections ahead, right? We're taking cues from the Union Budget of 2018-19 where the policy focus would remain on increasing the outlay for capital expenditure to sustain healthy growth in the economy. Now moreover, the government could also look at taking measures to support the nascent uptrend in the real estate sector and also increase capital expenditure, or also known as capex, by the private sector. Now the budget can propose higher allocation in the capital expenditure and पहले एक चीज आया था known as production linked incentive or also known as PLI schemes, so वो भी आ सकता है इस बार, right? Now there could also be some tax incentives for investments in InvITs which are known as infrastructure investment trust and also agri infrastructure projects in cold storage, warehousing etc. in this budget which is 2023-24. अब इस देखते sectors क्या है focus में, right? It's imperative for the center to take necessary measures to sustain the ongoing economic recovery. Now the government will maintain its focus on development of infrastructure, जो आपका roads है, energy है, water है, affordable housing segment है. Now that would give the economy a much needed earning boost, right? अभी उसके अलावा गवर्नमेंट रूरल सेक्टर पे भी फोकस करेंगे क्योंकि अगर रूरल इकोनॉमी में इंप्रूवमेंट आया तो डायरेक्ट रिजल्ट दिखेगा हायर इनकम एंड हायर कंजम्पशन पे, व्हिच वुड आल्सो एड सेक्टर्स लाइक ऑटोमोबाइल, सीमेंट एंड कंज्यूमर गुड्स, राइट? नाउ बीएफएसआई, ऑटो सेगमेंट, इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर सेगमेंट, रियल एस्टेट, कंस्ट्रक्शन, एनर्जी, ये सब सारे बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट सेक्टर्स है अपकमिंग बजट के ऊपर. सो लेट्स लुक एट वन बाय वन ऑल ऑफ दीज सेक्टर्स इन आवर नेक्स्ट सेगमेंट. Now the first sector we're going to look at in the hashtag budget with angel episode is the automobiles and the electric vehicles segment. Now first let's look at the current status. State governments offer incentives on investment in electric vehicle charging infrastructure. PLI support is available for investments in advanced chemistry cell, also known as ACC manufacturing, and the GST rate is 5% for EVs and average 18% for EV components. And now hybrid vehicles are attracting a GST rate at 43%. Also, an amount of 7,50,000 crore had been earmarked for growth-oriented capex for the EV segment. But ये सब पहले हुआ था. अभी देखते हैं ये बजट में क्या expectations हैं. Now, the central government should offer additional incentives on investments in charging infrastructure. एक चीज तो वो है. Second चीज, PLI support for manufacturing of components for batteries also should be established. Coming to GST, applicable GST rate on EV components should be 5% compared to the average of 18%. Now, reduction in cess on hybrid vehicles should also take place, and we also are expecting an increase in growth-oriented capex, which will also boost the electric vehicle segment. So boss, how will this impact the companies? This is going to be very positive for the EV segment because additional incentive would boost the investments in charging infrastructure and also will help the production of EVs, right? Now, if battery segment में भी अगर ACC का जो cost है वो कम हो जाता है and we get more incentives for producing this advanced chemistry cell, then again the adoption of EV will become very big. Now, this is also a very big positive for OEMs, which is original equipment manufacturers, because जो GST का जो burden था वो कम हो जाएगा and because the GST burden will reduce, the cost of EVs will also go down. So that is how the overall EVs sector will benefit. Now the next sector that we will look at is the bank and NBFC sector, right? Now पहले क्या हुआ था कि the emergency credit line guarantee scheme, also known as ECLGS scheme, was given for MSMEs, which was available till March 2023, which is अभी, right? Second चीज जो उन लोगों ने किया था was the National Asset Reconstruction Company, which is also known as NARCL, where the government is offering guarantees for acquiring stressed assets from bank. But the process for rolling out offers for stressed assets cases basically became delayed. Third thing that had happened was the FDI limit currently in PSU banks is capped at 20%, but private banks have a limit of 74%. In budget 2022, the government also announced privatization of two public sector banks other than IDBI Bank. Now, what is the budget expectation? People are expecting that the ECLGS will be increased by one more year to March 2024. Second, we're going to look at any announcement for a time-bound action plan for debt resolution via NARCL. Third, the government may consider raising the FDI limit even in public sector banks, not just the private sector banks. But how will this impact the companies? It is going to be a huge positive for the banking sector, for the NBFC sector, and even if the credit line starts getting boosted, the MSME sector will also start doing really well. And if all of this go well, then the banks will be able to manage their stressed accounts also very effectively. So all of these are positives for the government. Now the third sector that we're going to look at with budget with Angel is basically the consumer goods, right? Now current status agar aap dekhenge in the rural economy, the government's continuous focus is there on improving the rural economy by increasing the allocation to rural development schemes and infrastructure projects. Now the total allocation that was there before under the MNREGA scheme was 73,000 crores in the union budget before. Now let's look at the next expectation for our budget, right? We are going to look at providing continuous support for the improvement of the agricultural economy and the rural economy, and the government may increase allocation under the MNREGA scheme as compared to the union budget 2022. Also, the government could spend more on improving warehousing and cold storage facilities for these farmers as well. Now, how will this impact the rural economy? Increasing the budget of MNREGA will directly impact the rural economy and give it a boost along with increasing the income. Now, if income in tier 2 and tier 3 cities start improving, this will definitely empower the economic system and we will obviously as Bharat become very powerful. Now the third sector we're going to look at with hashtag budget with Angel series is the infrastructure and the cement sector, right? Now, if you look at the current status, the gross budgetary support to the Ministry of Road, Transport and Highways stood at 1.99 lakh crores for FY23, and we have seen a lot of projects coming up in the last few years, right? Now, the budget outlay towards these schemes, which are your metro projects and your PMAYU, PMAYR and Urban Rejuvenation Mission, all of these come up to a whopping 1.99 crores, right? And even we're putting allocation into smart cities and Amrut and smart cities as well. Now, we also have seen in the last year where there was a budget outlay for Jal Jeevan Mission, or it was also known as the National Rural Drinking Water Mission for FY23, right? Which was a total allocation of 49,758 crores. Now, if you look at today's budget expectations that we are predicting that this is going to do well, we want the budget to support this entire infrastructure and increase it to approximately 2.5 lakh crores for the next year 2024. We also want the government to increase outlay towards these various schemes, and if that happens, it is going to be a direct positive improvement in the cement demand, right? Now, what is the likely impact of this entire system? Operationalizing the above facility is likely to increase private interest in infrastructure products implemented on the PPP basis, as it would facilitate the availability of long-term financing from financial institutions. Now, it is likely to reduce the cost of borrowing and the direct government financing for these infrastructure projects, which will again help the economy. Now, the next sector we're going to look at is everyone's favorite sector, which is the IT sector. Now, current status currently the MAT provisions have no threshold, and all companies, notwithstanding their size, are subject to provisions of the tax. Now, startups are also liable to pay MAT even if they claim exemption under the Section 80 IAC of the IT Act. Now, the LTCG tax, which is a long-term capital gain tax on private stock investments, is 20%, while the tax on public stock investments is only 10%. Now, no tax incentive on capital or operational expenditure for expanding and using new age technology applications exist right now. Now, what are we expecting in the budget? We expect that the MAT, which is the minimum alternative tax for eligible startups, should be reduced to 9% instead of 15%. Next, what we're also looking at is the equalization of long-term capital gains for unlisted shares and public stock investments. Don't keep two different brackets. Another thing what everyone is expecting is the tax incentive on capital or operational expenditure for expanding and using new age technology applications like AI, which is artificial intelligence, machine learning, and IoT, which is Internet of Things. So let's move towards this. Let's start developing these new type of technologies and get a lot of benefits for it. Now, what is the impact for all this on companies, right? This will facilitate growth of small businesses, जो छोटे-छोटे businesses है, startups है. It will help them meet their working capital requirements during the initial days. Now, even the LTCG tax on unlisted stock held for more than 24 months is double that of the listed equity shares held in this year. So that can also help more investments from private companies into different startups as well. So we will see if that starts getting attractive, then people will not invest in the public market, might invest in the private market, right? Now, all of these things slowly will help the startup ecosystem, and domestic investors will also boost their entire capacity. Now, companies will also see an increase in AI, ML and IoT, which will again move us into a beautiful digital era. Now, the next sector we're going to look at is the power sector. Now, currently power sector mein kya ho raha hai, right? Privatization of discoms is happening, renewable energy that everyone is talking about. Green hydrogen is also something that we're talking about. But what are we going to look at, or what are we expecting in this budget? We are looking for a roadmap for privatization of these discoms, because everyone's talking about this, right? Mainly in union territories and states, and start focus on smart metering. That is something that is coming up in smart cities. Now, we also believe that we need to increase the PLI scheme for solar modules and provide loan to these companies at a lower interest rate. We also believe that there should be a subsidy scheme to lower the cost of green hydrogen, right? And likely some PLI scheme for electrolyzers as well. Now, what is the impact of this? Now, support in terms of incentive structures will come to enable continued fast track capex, and this can help reduce infrastructural inefficiency, right? This is a big problem that is going on in this space. Now, planning for the carbon market, which is going to come up very soon, is also underway at the government level, right? And we can also see, or maybe find out, new announcements that are coming in this space. Now, this is very important for the industrial sector, because now we are all focused on this new carbon emission led spend, where we have to comply for carbon emissions, and we are also aligning our companies to the ESG standard and ESG commitments. Next, we will talk about another real good sector, which is known as real estate sector. Now, we see that there is a 2 lakh rebate on housing loan interest rate under section 24 of the IT Act. We also see that under the section 80C, we get a deduction of approximately 1.5 lakh on the principal repayment of a housing loan. In fact, in metro cities, affordable housing falls under units priced at 45 lakhs or below, but in metro cities, it's very difficult to get 45 lakhs and below. So now people are expecting something else. What are they expecting? Let's see. First thing we're expecting is, boss, increase the limit of rebate to at least 5 lakhs instead of 2 lakhs, right? Deduction limit, which is 1.5 lakhs, try to increase up to 4 lakhs, because we've been seeing that a lot, that it is very less right now. And the price cap for affordable housing in metro cities should go up from 45 lakhs to 75 lakhs. Now, how will this impact us? Increasing the deduction under ATC for housing loan or increasing the exemption limit under section 24 will make the real estate sector extremely attractive, which will fuel retail participation. People like me and you will start buying it. Now, this will directly help boost revenues for the entire sector, along with boosting registration taxes for the government, and they will also make a lot of money. Now guys, I hope आज के वीडियो से आपको इतना आइडिया तो लग गया होगा कि बॉस ये कौन सा सेक्टर गवर्नमेंट ज्यादा फोकस करने वाला है, एंड व्हाट इज गोइंग टू हैपन इन दीज सेक्टर्स, राइट? सो हमको नजर रखना चाहिए ये की सेक्टर्स पे. अगर आपको ये वीडियो अच्छा लगा, देन एक काम करो, प्लीज लाइक करो और ये वीडियो अपने दोस्तों के साथ शेयर करो, बिकॉज बजट अभी आने ही वाला है. एंड वेट, don't forget to subscribe to our channel as well, and keep watching #BudgetWithAngel for more budget related updates. This is me, Shashank Udupa, signing off. Take care. See you guys. Bye.
Investments in securities market are subject to market risks. Read all the related documents carefully before investing.